What's good, everybody, man? This is your guy Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel, Talking Sports with Manny podcast. So we're gonna talk Week 7 today. Um, Tons of football to be played. Big news yesterday: Christian McCaffrey gets traded from the Carolina Panthers to the San Francisco 49ers. The compensation was a second round pick in 23, third round pick in 23, fourth round pick in 23, and a 25 fifth round pick, if I'm not sorry, a 24 fifth round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was great compensation for the Panthers. We know that Christian McCaffrey is one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in football. He brings a lot to the table in terms of even being a wide receiver. There was a year when Christian McCaffrey had over 2,300 yards from scrimmage, and I think he had like 19 touchdowns that year. So Christian McCaffrey is as elite as they come. He's great. So we're going to talk starts and sits for Week 7. But before I tap into that, there's some news and notes. Obviously, Cam Akers, he's seeking a trade. The team has pretty much shut him down. They're trying to trade him right now. Elijah Moore from the Jets, he wants a trade. And it's really like you're complaining about your workload, but your team is 4-2. You guys are doing well. Not only that, the Jets drafted a wide receiver in the top 10. So he has draft capital. So he's not complaining. You're into year 2. You were hurt last year. You didn't play a full season. You've not done anything. You've not accomplished anything in the NFL, and you're complaining. Elijah Mitchell, come on, man. You had a few good games last year, and that's that. So what are you really building it off of? So these young wide receivers, they're becoming divas. They're becoming divas. He wants a trade. I don't think he gets a trade, but the team sent him home yesterday with a personal day, and then they actually shut him down for Sunday. So Elijah Moore is not going to be on the field on Sunday. He's not playing on Sunday. So that's that. So we'll see if they find a deal for him. There is literally, 9 days left? Let me see, 10 days. So there's 10 days left literally until the trade deadline, which is November the 1st. So we don't know what's going to happen with the trade deadline. There's tons of players right now that, NFL is talking about teams that could possibly, make trades. So I'm going to go to NFL.com real quick and kind of highlight off of their stories. I'm giving full credit, full disclosure to NFL.com because they do produce pretty good content. Shout out to Kevin Patra. He has an article on NFL.com. You guys can go ahead and check that out. He says, buyers and sellers at 2022 NFL trade deadline. Should the Packers target a wide receiver? Should the Broncos unload their veterans? As of right now with the Broncos, I don't think they should unload their veterans because you've paid Russell Wilson all this money. You don't own your own draft picks. I get it. You blow up the season. You sell your veterans to then draft some players to build around Russell Wilson. If the Broncos have a chance to draft a quarterback, you go ahead and draft that quarterback. I mean, you paid Russell Wilson a big amount of money, and it has not worked out. What's good, Surfing CBN Challengers? What's good? He says, yo, I just got offered Swift, Devontae Smith, and Waddle for Diggs and Najee. Do I do it? Woo, that's a good deal. I say yes. You take it. You know why? Because although Diggs is like a top 1 wide receiver, Waddle is a top 5, top 7 when he's on his game. Even with the Tyreek Hill there, Waddle is as elite as it comes. I'm going to look up where Waddle ranks right now currently. And then Swift. When Swift is healthy, he's one of the best running backs in all of football. So, and then you get Devontae Smith for free. I think that Najee Harris is done. So that's why I would do this deal. You're getting 3 quality players for 1. Like the 1 quality player that you're giving up is Stephon Diggs. Najee Harris, I'm out on the whole Najee Harris thing. So, yeah, it's a great deal for you, actually. I would do this deal in a heartbeat. So let me look this thing up real quick. I want to see where Waddle ranks currently. Jalen Waddle is wide receiver 7. That's amazing. He's wide receiver 7, and we all know that Stephon Diggs is wide receiver 1. Najee Harris is he's in the 20s, right? We all know that Swift is up and coming. So, I mean, Take the deal. You definitely got to take this deal. It says, that's what I was thinking too, especially with Tua back this week. Waddle should be great. Yeah, you want to do this deal before Tua, because I'm telling you, Tua, I've been trying to acquire Tua in several leagues, and Tua is a beast. He's a beast, and we know what Tua brings to the table. If I'm you, you make this deal before Sunday. If you wait till Sunday, Tua's going to come out here, throw tons of targets to Waddle, throw tons of targets to Tyreek Hill. And we know that Tyreek Hill is getting more love than Waddle, but I think that's going to flip pretty soon because Waddle is that dude. So even though that Tyreek Hill is getting all the targets and the yards, don't be surprised if Waddle gets more touchdowns than Tyreek Hill. So right now, as we see it, Jalen Waddle has how many touchdowns? He has 3 touchdowns so far. He has 553 yards receiving and 30 receptions. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Jalen Waddle. And Tyreek Hill, let me see. Tyreek Hill. I get confused between saying Tyreek and Tariq, to be honest. I just kind of mix it up. But Tyreek Hill is wide receiver 3 right now. And he has, 701 yards receiving. So he's on a whole nother level. And he has 50 receptions. So he has 20 more receptions than Jalen Waddle. But that does not mean that Jalen Waddle won't outscore this guy when it comes to touchdowns. Right now, Hill has 2 touchdowns and Waddle has 3. I think Waddle is the touchdown guy out of the 2. What's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Just Ramondre for Najee and Ayuk, full PPR. I'm down on Najee, but this is great value that you're getting for Ramondre Stevenson. Now, if you have other running backs that you trust and believe in, and you want to remove Ramondre Stevenson for Najee and Ayuk, I would go ahead and do it. I think it's a great deal for you, even though I'm down on Najee Harris right now. Najee Harris, to me right now, is like a depth piece, and he might catch fire later on as Kenny Pickett gets better. But for right now, I'm down on Najee, but I would still trade Ramondre Stevenson for Najee and Ayuk. Is just so much value in this trade for you. And Ayuk might end up being a better wide receiver. Even with Christian McCaffrey being there, people are saying that Ayuk is going to be the guy that's going to be in the flats. And once Debo and McCaffrey are in space, it's going to open up more things for Ayuk. So Ayuk could be very, very vital to the success of that San Francisco 49er offense. Super says, all right, man, I appreciate it, man. Anytime, man, anytime. If you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please turn on your notification bell so that way you get notified whenever I go on live. Also, please like the video or like the live. It kind of helps bring more people into the live. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the love. So we're going to dive into a lot of different things. Well, reading this article, right, after you see teams like the Panthers trying to trade everybody, right? DJ Moore is now left on the Panthers. He's on an island. He's by himself. Do the Panthers move DJ Moore? Panthers say no. Panthers said that DJ Moore is a piece that they want to keep. They feel like he is a foundational piece from what they're saying. They're saying that DJ Moore is going to be highly, highly involved in what they want to do. So, DJ Moore's going nowhere. But on the fantasy portion of it, we know that Sam Darnold is coming back soon. He might be the better quarterback on the Panthers. So if Sam Darnold comes back soon, he might be able to resurrect DJ Moore. DJ Moore's going to have multiple targets with Robbie Anderson being gone, with CMC being gone. Not only that, who's the other wide receiver on the Panthers? Is it Terrence Marshall? Is it Shea Smith? Is it who's actually on that team that can get some targets? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Deontay Foreman is a guy that I liked. I drafted him a lot because I didn't trust CMC. And now Deontay Foreman gets to become that guy because guess what? CMC being gone, Deontay slides into that RB1 status for the Panthers. Might not be good, but he might be somebody who could possibly help you win some games. Chuba Hubbard, I think he's terrible. I'm not a fan of his at all. So we'll see. There's some trades that need to be made, and keep an eye out on that. And look, just be smart. So on this article that I was reading, this said sellers. They said the Panthers should be selling everything. That means Brian Burns. That means DJ Moore. But we already talked about DJ Moore. He's going nowhere. Matt Ioannidis. Like you have all these different guys. They have some pretty good depth pieces, but you can't If you're not winning, you got to get rid of guys so you can that way you can kind of speed up your rebuilding process. You need as much assets as possible. Also, they said that the Chicago Bears should be sellers as well. Their season is just going down. They have Robert Quinn, who's available, Eddie Jackson, David Montgomery. He's in the final year of his rookie contract, which is Khalil Herbert's team next year. Khalil Herbert has that potential to take over and be the team's starting running back. Roquan Smith, he's been a hot name. And, Justin Fields, if he doesn't have the weapons, he's not going to do anything. So this season is a lost season for the Bears, to be honest. So they need to be sellers. Let me get into the comment section. Brock Goose, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. If you have never heard of me before, please subscribe and please like the live. Appreciate you, man, for joining. He says, how are we doing? Need help with a blockbuster. I'm doing great, brother. It says, you're trading away Mixon, Mooney, DJ Moore for Chubb. 10-man PPR. Ooh. I don't know, man. I know it's 10-man PPR, and you can always find more talent because it's 10-man. But giving up Mixon hasn't really been Mixon, right? Then you add DJ Moore, who's, DJ Moore is pretty low right now. His value is pretty low. And then Mooney's value is pretty low. So it's really Mixon for Chubb. But I still wouldn't do it. I still think that there's hope for the likes of Mooney and the likes of DJ Moore, especially DJ Moore. I think that he can get something going on as the season gets going. But if you are a team that's losing and you're trying to get to some winning ways, Chubb is legit. I think the Cleveland Browns get rid of Kareem Hunt before the trade deadline. So if they do that, that's more touches for Nick Chubb. I would say make this deal only if you are a losing team and you got to shake some things up. Then that's when you do this deal. Because I know you can go into the waiver wire and find better pieces than Mooney and DJ Moore currently, especially being 10-man. Brock also says, my wide receivers are Waddle, Godwin, Hop, Jacoby, Gallup, Dobbs. Okay. All right. Well, this makes a whole lot of sense. You can then make, Mooney and DJ Moore expendable. Yes, you go ahead and make that deal. It's always great to get context. That way I can kind of see where you're coming from. Adding Nick Chubb to your team is a major, major upgrade over a guy like, Chubb is great. Chubb is great. Mixon is good, but Mixon hasn't been great. So, yeah, I would definitely take this deal. Being that you're 4-2, you go ahead and add Nick Chubb to your other running backs that you have on your team currently. And DeAndre Hopkins played great yesterday. DeAndre Hopkins is back. I was wrong about DeAndre Hopkins. So when you have a DeAndre Hopkins coming back, you can get rid of some of these other wide receivers that you don't need. But yeah, that is an awesome, awesome deal for you. It says, Bam says, hey, Bam, man, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Bam says, I have $77. How much fab do I use on Foreman? I would say like 10%, but 20% possibly gets it done. Foreman is going to be a hot commodity right now because Christian McCaffrey is gone, and everybody is going to be on the Foreman train. I saw Foreman picked up in so many leagues that I was in on Sleeper. I seen Foreman go in leagues that were on Yahoo as well. But I remember last week I picked up Foreman, and I also picked up Chuba Hubbard in the same league because I knew that Christian McCaffrey might get traded. But then in another league, I stupidly dropped Foreman because I needed space. So it's just one of those things where you got to master your roster. But I would say 20% gets it done. 10% is safe. All right. CZG average. What's good? Writes PPR start one at flex. Curtis Samuel, Brian Robinson, or Thornton. This one's easy for me. I would go Curtis Samuel for the simple fact that Jahan Dotson is still banged up. That's one. Number two, De'Ami Brown is out, right? So Cam Sims and then a new quarterback. Curtis Samuel is going to be used a lot like J.D. McKissick was used the last time Taylor Heineke started for the Commanders, which was last year in week 7 or 8 versus the Green Bay Packers. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't the last time he started, but, Taylor Heineke loves to check down. So Curtis Samuel is perfect for what Taylor Heineke likes to do. Brian Robinson, I love him. I am starting Robinson in a few leagues only because I have to. And this being PPR, you got to go ahead and get the guy that is leading the team in targets. So Curtis Samuel, that one's pretty easy right there. It says, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So it gives me Breece, Chubb, Ramondre, Kenneth Walker. Oh, man. amazing running back room that should give you the title, honestly. But yeah, anytime, man, anytime. Gianni Video, what's good? It says, should I trade Christian Kirk for CeeDee Lamb? Absolutely. If anybody is going to give you CeeDee Lamb for Christian Kirk, you do it, and you do that twice on Sunday. You go ahead and make that happen right away. Man, this is a great stream, man. Y'all keep the questions coming. As you guys are coming into the stream, please like the stream. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Let me go ahead and put this up. All right. Keep the questions coming. I'm loving it. So we were talking about teams that should be selling, teams that should be buying at the trade deadline. Another team that's up here that says, under sellers is my Washington Commanders. They've been terrible. They said, William Jackson III wants a fresh start. So he's going to be a guy that is going to be shipped out if you find a willing trade partner. Antonio Gibson is another guy who's fallen out of favor in Washington because of a guy like Brian Robinson Jr. So Antonio Gibson might have some value, but I don't really know who are the teams that are looking for a running back, especially with the skill set of what Antonio Gibson has. He has not fumbled this year. He's taking care of the ball. And also the biggest fish that the Commanders have to offer is a guy like Daron Payne. Daron Payne is in the final year of his contract. He's balling out of control. He's leading the team. He's tied for team lead in sacks with 3.5. He is, already getting after the quarterbacks. He has over 20 pressures already this season, or right at 20 pressures already this season. So the Commanders could be in the running for trading some guys. Lincoln, what's good? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Please like it up, man. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Lincoln writes, would you trade your 23 first, Alec Pierce, Bellinger, or maybe a 23 second for Drake London and Najee? Now, there's two sides to this. I take this as a dynasty league, right? So if this is a dynasty league, if you are a contending team, then that means that your 23 first is going to be a low first, which I don't mind getting rid of if it's a low first. Now, if you're a middle team or you're not a playoff team, I'm not willing to trade this for, because Alec Pierce is going to be good. He's going to be really, really good. I know that you need, let me see. He says your weakest position is wide receiver. Okay. So trading your first, Alec Pierce, Bellinger, or maybe a 23 second for Drake. Drake is going to be good. Najee is kind of up and down right now, but this is a perfect time to buy Najee low, especially in Dynasty. He says, my pick will probably be 112. Okay, I'm sorry. That's why it's kind of good to read the whole comment before I dive in. So, yeah. So if your pick is going to be 112, absolutely. It's a great deal for you. And then it's a 1.5 tight end premium in Dynasty, and you own Kelsey and Andrews. Yeah, that's probably why you're winning right now. That's probably why you have the best team in the league, because if it's tight end premium, you want to have Kelsey and Andrews, and these are the two tight ends that are really tearing it up. Yeah, that's a deal that I am willing to make. Great deal for you. Honestly, even though I like Alec Pierce, even though that your 23 first could be a quarterback, it's still great to go ahead and move these assets together to get a guy like Drake and then to get a guy like Najee Harris. And then if Najee Harris doesn't pan out for you next year, he still has name value. I'm pretty sure you can get a second round pick for Najee if he fizzles out and he ends up not being that guy or being that dude. So yeah, great question, man. I love it. Definitely make this deal. Deep class coming in 23. Make no mistakes about it. But at the end of the day, at least Drake London is a sure thing. You don't have to worry about landing spots with Dynasty and who's going to be there at 112 and things of that nature. So, yeah, definitely make that deal. Mark, man, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Should I trade Debo for Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown? Yes. This is the time to trade Debo. I'm not saying get rid of Debo, but if you're going to trade Debo for Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown, that's definitely great value. I think this is the time to get rid of Debo. Debo's value definitely goes down. CMC is going to do a lot of the things that Debo already does, which is receiving out of the backfield, right? You pay all this capital to get a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you're going to use him. So I think Debo Samuel's value goes down, but then it could help Debo. But if I'm you, I'd rather have Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown over Debo right now, currently at this very moment. So it's half PPR redraft. Yeah, still, I would trade Debo right now. I think it's time to trade Debo now that he still has some value, just in case things go south and he doesn't get that value out of his situation. So that's what I would do. Now, let's look at other teams that could be sellers at the trade deadline in the NFL. The Broncos has been terrible. It's time to move a guy like Melvin Gordon. He was benched for a older guy in Latavius Murray, 32-year-old. That's a slap in the face to a guy like Melvin Gordon. So you might as well trade him, right? They have Albert O, a former fourth-round pick. He has not panned out for them. I mean, Greg Dulcich has come in and has taken over that job. So Albert O becomes expendable. Bradley Chubb, Kareem Jackson, Alex Singleton. So many guys the Broncos can move just to kind of generate some draft picks. It's looking like the Broncos are going to miss the playoffs. So why not generate as much assets as possible to then have a better 2023, even with Russell Wilson as your guy? The Houston Texans, they're going nowhere. You might want to trade guys like Jerry Hughes. Even at age 34, I'm pretty sure people still want his services. Christian Kirksey and all these guys. So it's pretty simple, right? The bad teams sell and the good teams buy, right? The contenders buy, right? Let me see. Lincoln says, on the deal, should I trade away Bellinger or the 23 second? I would trade away Bellinger. Bellinger is good. It has potential, but I would trade that away. You want to keep as many 23 assets as you can. Even if this 23 asset is going to be late second, you still want to have as many assets in this draft. I'm telling you, this draft is loaded, and you are going to be surprised what you can find. So, definitely keep the 23 second over Bellinger. Sebastian, man, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Please like, please subscribe. So, Sebastian writes, should I drop Madison or Melvin Gordon? I would say drop Madison. I still think that Melvin Gordon still has some name value. He still has a role. He's the number one running back on that team right now. So I would say, drop Madison and just hope that Dalvin Cook doesn't get hurt this weekend. Gianni says, who do I start this week between David Njoku, TJ Hockenson, or Dalton Schultz? It's crazy because I had Dalton Schultz as a top-tier tight end this year, but Dak Prescott hasn't been there. Dak Prescott is back. You have TJ Hockenson going against Dallas defense, right? And then you have David Njoku, who was pretty much up and down. So for me, it's between TJ Hockenson and Dalton Schultz. Dallas defense is very stingy versus the tight end position. So that eliminates TJ Hockenson, meaning that if Dalton Schultz is truly fully healthy with a fully healthy Dak Prescott, you can expect some fireworks with Dalton Schultz. I have Dalton Schultz fired up in several different leagues. Okay, so you own two 23 seconds. Oh, yeah, you want to keep those two 23s. I'm telling you, somebody is going to be willing to pay you, especially during the draft. They're going to look at the board and say, oh, this guy is available. This guy's available. Then you can move these picks for players if you choose to do that. But I do love the 23 draft. I think the 23 draft is loaded, and you want to have as many 23s as possible. So, definitely keep the pick and trade Bellinger. Bellinger is good, but you can always find another Bellinger. I mean, the rule in Dynasty for me, when I do my drafts, I wait till the last two rounds of my draft to then pick up tight ends. Guys like Dulcich, I picked up. He wasn't even drafted in my league. Guys like Isaiah Likely. This was like in the summer. People didn't care about tight ends. I was able to grab all these tight ends and fill them up into my taxi. So that's what I pretty much do. I grab all these tight ends. I put them in my taxi, including guys like Jake Ferguson. He's now making a name for himself. So you can find another Bellinger. Now, this tight end class this past year was good when people said that it wasn't. So you don't know what you're going to find. So definitely keep your second round picks because you can get a back that can end up being a stud. You can end up finding you another Dameon Pierce in the second. You can end up finding you a quarterback like Mac Jones if it's super flex. So definitely keep your picks. So teams that should be buyers on or at the trade deadline is the Bills. What do the Bills really need? I think the Bills need a running back, but it's better to draft a Bijan Robinson or even a guy like Gibbs or Jahmyr Gibbs next year. That's what Buffalo should do. They are saying, oh, Buffalo needs a tight end or Buffalo needs more playmakers. I think they have enough. You can always add another tight end to go with Dawson Knox, but I mean, you paid Dawson Knox like a top guy, right? So why give up on Dawson Knox now? Green Bay Packers need everything. They need wide receivers. Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson are not it currently. Randall Cobb is hurt. Sammy Watkins is old and hurt, always hurt. You can possibly get a guy like Chase Claypool, a guy like Elijah Moore if he truly becomes available. The Colts, they should be buyers from what NFL.com is saying. They have Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman, but you still need another weapon, another receiver. Maybe you need a legit tight end. Like Gesicki could be, somebody that the Colts could call and see, hey, what is the price, right? Kansas City, outside of Travis Kelce and with the speculations of OBJ potentially joining the Kansas City Chiefs, this can go plenty different ways. They definitely need weapons on offense, and anything can happen weapon-wise for this team. They need a receiver badly. Juju Smith-Schuster is not it. It's not it at all. Then you have a guy like then you have the team like the Los Angeles Rams, right? They're looking to trade away Cam Akers, but they're also a team that's looking to add multiple things. All right, I got some more guys in the comments. I got Domo in here. Domo says, should I trade Mike Evans or Chris Godwin along with Ramondre for Jamar Chase? Ooh, man, that is tough. That is tough. If you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you can go ahead and trade one of these guys for a Jamar Chase. If you have to add a Ramondre Stevenson and you have depth at running back, then you go ahead and do what you got to do. It's not a bad deal, but man, I would rather have Mike Evans and Godwin and Ramondre on my team opposed to breaking this up to get Chase. But I get it. You want to, diversify. You want to have multiple weapons or like you want to split your teams up because you don't want to have everybody coming from that one team. So definitely get it there. Domo also writes, Domo says also Waller, Gus for Pitts. Ooh, Waller and Gus for Pitts. Yes, I would do that. I think Pitts is going to have his better year as the year goes on. Says need a tight end, and the Ravens' backfields are always muddy. That's true. But Waller and Pitts, there's not too much difference between Waller and Pitts this year. Both guys, Pitts has been healthy, but hasn't produced. Waller has been unhealthy and hasn't produced. So that's a wash. I think that Gus Edwards has a role this year. I get it, it's muddy, but J.K. Dobbins was put on IR today. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So no J.K. Dobbins. You have Justice Hill and Kenyon Drake. Who else can really compete in that backfield? Gus Edwards is the running back to own. So, but Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. If you're a Kyle Pitts fan, then you do what you got to do to get the guy that you want. It is time to get to move away from Darren Waller. So you're definitely in the right direction there. Yeah, so back to the Rams. They need to get rid of Cam Akers, but they're going to be buyers. They don't like to necessarily draft. They rather trade for veterans, and that's what helped them to win championships. This year, they're tied for first place in the NFC West at 3-3, but I really don't trust the Rams. I don't think that the Rams can keep this thing up. I think the Rams missed the playoffs. So if you are a seller, you want to sell to the Rams because if they miss the playoffs, that's a higher draft pick that you get to get on your team. The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in football. They're the only undefeated team right now at 6-0, and they look pretty good. They're going to be buyers. They're going to be looking for, guys like, Robert Quinn. They're going to be looking for all these different types of veterans that could potentially come in and help this team potentially win a Super Bowl. Just imagine if the Philadelphia 70s, I almost said 76. So if the Philadelphia Eagles would have traded, let's say, a first-round pick to get Christian McCaffrey, do you know how much more dangerous the Eagles would be right now currently? So we have to see if they're honestly going to trade Miles Sanders or not. But yeah, that's that. So let's go ahead and dive into the actual starts and sits for this week. All right, so I have my game lineup. Let me go back up. So you have the Cleveland Browns at at the Baltimore Ravens, right? You always start Nick Chubb. That's always a given, right? Other than Nick Chubb and maybe Amari Cooper because the Ravens defense has been bad, those are the two guys that I trust to start. Obviously, if Mark Andrews is out, Devin Duvernay could be the guy because Rashad Bateman is still banged up. So there's tons of things that could happen potentially in this game. It's a game within a game. Lamar Jackson losing J.K. Dobbins, and then, does Kenyon Drake have another good game like he did last week? I don't know. But Lamar Jackson is definitely the wide receiver. Lamar Jackson is definitely the running back for that team. So Lamar Jackson could potentially have one of those crazy 100 yards rushing type game, two scores or whatever. So if you guys have questions as you guys are coming in, feel free to ask. We move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, you need to go ahead and start everything Buccaneers. Start the Buccaneers DST. I think they have a great game. PJ Walker is starting. Sam Darnold is trying to come back. This team is dumpster fire. And there's a potential that the Carolina Panthers end up with the worst record to get the number one pick. So that's another reason why they kind of blew it up. So you're going to have DJ Moore. He's a guy that I would say is only a desperation start if you don't have any other wide receivers, or if you're struggling to find somebody to stick into your flex, then you put in a DJ Moore and you hope for the best. One thing I can say about PJ Walker was that he was able to find Christian McCaffrey a lot last week. So all those targets could be going to DJ Moore. They really don't have a running back off the backfield. If you guys are playing in Dynasty and you guys are looking for a dart throw, look for Blackshear. He's the running back, the third running back for the Panthers. So if you have a deep league, get him, stash him, just in case Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman either get hurt or neither one of those guys pan out. They might just say, let's just go to this undrafted rookie and let's just see what we have. And that's where, magic happens sometimes, all these James Robinsons of the world. So I want to talk about a dynasty topic. The dynasty topic is these running backs that have low draft capital, right? They're always phased out. Michael Carter was a 4th-round pick last year. In comes Breece Hall in the 2nd round, and Breece Hall is now the starter, and he's getting all of the touches. Same thing happened with Elijah Mitchell yesterday, right? Elijah Mitchell was an undrafted guy, played well, and then guess what? Here comes Christian McCaffrey with all this draft capital. So goodbye, Elijah Mitchell. He's done. Then even last year with James Robinson. James Robinson, his rookie year played well, 2nd year played well, got hurt. Then they brought in Travis Etienne. Now Etienne is now slowly but surely grabbing all of the touches. Now, the biggest topic is Dameon Pierce. Everybody is excited about Dameon Pierce. I know who Dameon Pierce is. He's pretty good. Everybody can say, oh, Dameon Pierce is not built the same. If you look at James Robinson lately, Dameon Pierce was what, a 4th-round pick in the draft? And I told people before the season started that do not be surprised if the Houston Texans use one of their high draft picks to draft a guy that comes in and replaces Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is great, but just keep an eye out on that in Dynasty. Just in case things go south, I was able to trade Dameon Pierce for a 23 first. It sounded good before the season started, but then the guy that I traded him to is one of the best guys, one of the best teams in the league. So my 23 first is going to be looking like a bottom 2023 first, but it's still good. It's still good. It's still good to have multiple assets. Yes, sir. Ahmed, welcome to the stream, brother. Ahmed writes, I got 4 starter running backs: Lenny, Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders. Who do I trade? Look, I love the first 3. The guy that you trade right now is Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders' value is as big as it's been in a long time. You can trade Miles Sanders right now for something. Now, let's just say this weekend is going to be a telling weekend for that Patriots backfield. If Damian Harris comes back and eats into Ramondre Stevens' work, then okay, in redraft, you might want to trade Ramondre Stevens. In Dynasty, you're keeping Stevenson. So yeah, I would say out of these two guys, kind of monitor how the Patriots backfield goes this week. I love Ramondre because he can catch the ball and then Damian Harris can't, but Damian Harris does get a lot of goal line carries. Miles Sanders right now is hot. That offense is hot. That team is hot. So Miles Sanders could possibly get you a stud wide receiver or maybe even a serviceable tight end. I'm in a league where tight ends matter, and I picked up Robert Tonyan, and somebody sent me Miles Sanders for Robert Tonyan. I took the deal because I needed RB help. So just to kind of give you an example of what's out there. Sebastian writes, Keenan Allen and Zeke for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes. You go ahead and make that deal right away. I'd rather have Amon-Ra over a guy like Zeke, who is declining, and Keenan Allen. We don't even know when he's going to play, if he's going to play. Keenan Allen has been up and down. I can't trust him. These are two guys that I don't trust for a guy that I love, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I might be biased, but I would definitely take the Amon-Ra side all day. And then you're saying this redraft. Yeah, still, give me Amon-Ra St. Brown over these two other guys that you can't really trust right now. Domo writes, I was able to snag Cordero Patterson with Pitts in that Waller and Gus trade. Great. I love it. Cordero Patterson is a stash, and when he's healthy and he's good to go, he's definitely a piece that you want to have on your team down that stretch run of the playoffs. Domo writes, I feel like at least I got a decent replacement. I have Dalvin, Brees, and Najee. I feel you. I have so many Dalvin and Brees combos. I have so many Dalvin, Eckler, and Brees. Dalvin, Swift, and Brees. Yeah, I have Brees everywhere. I have Eckler everywhere. And I love Dalvin Cook this year. I think that Dalvin Cook gets better and better and better. Kevin D, man, my guy, man, welcome to the stream, man. What's good with you? So, to talk about Mark Andrews, I got to put these on. I got sad news, man. As you see, I'm in all black, so it's a funeral. And I'm just kidding. Mark Andrews, they're saying that he's practicing and he's trending towards playing. So you should feel good about Mark Andrews, but still monitored. He's still questionable, but they're saying that he's leaning towards playing. So yeah, you're good on Mark Andrews. Now, how effective is he going to be? That's the question. That's the true question. But go figure. A Steelers fan is cheering for Mark Andrews. That's the beauty of fantasy. I'm a Commanders fan, but I'm cheering for guys like Dak Prescott in fantasy, but I want them to lose all their games. But that's just what fantasy is. Monique, what's good, girl? What's good? I haven't seen you on here in a while. Monique writes, hey, I got Kupp, Devontae on by. I really need a wide receiver too. I only have Renfro, Boyd, and DJ Moore. What do you think? Ooh, I'm praying for you, Monique. But what you can do, honestly, is you might want to go with DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore gets a lot of targets this weekend. I trust DJ Moore over guys like Renfro, who hasn't done anything. Tyler Boyd could go off every now and again, but it's just too many mouths to feed in Cincinnati. So with DJ Moore being like on that Panthers team by himself, the power of the Black Panther has been stripped away, right? So he's the only Panther left, literally. So go with DJ Moore and just pray. That's my biggest advice to you. Kevin D. writes, starting the Packers defense this week. Sorry. You know what? Start the Packers defense. I want you to start the Packers defense. And also, I want you to come back on this show when I do my NFL recap show on Monday night. And we're going to talk about how the Packers defense did for you. Because I'm telling you, Taylor Heineke is going to do Taylor Heineke type things. And I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what the Commanders are going to do. I don't know what their defense is going to do. One thing I can say is that the offensive line is bad. So you are almost guaranteed 4 to 5 sacks on the Commanders. Monique says, LOL, thanks for the great advice, Manny. Hey, anytime. I got you. All right. Ahmed said, I got Amon-Ra and Keenan Allen. I had Marquise Brown, but he got hurt. Do you still think let me see. Do you still think getting rid of Miles Sanders or Ramondre? Absolutely, because you need receiver help right now. Keenan Allen, we don't know who Keenan Allen is. So, to be honest, you can get rid of Miles Sanders and Ramondre to get a stud wide receiver if you have to. You can't trust Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is going to be the reason why you potentially miss the playoffs. So, if you can get rid of Keenan Allen, you do it because you just don't know. We all know that when he's healthy, he's great. But why is it this injury has been lingering? It's giving me Michael Thomas flashbacks. When injuries like this continue to linger, or Curtis Samuel flashback, where injured. Then before you know it, it's almost the end of the season, and he's costing you wins. So you can trade either Miles Sanders or Ramondre to get an upgrade at wide receiver, most definitely. So should I keep one and get rid of the other one? Yeah, you keep one, you get rid of the other. So just throw both guys out there, say, hey, I'm willing to offer Ramondre or Miles. Which one are you more interested in? And then you tell them, if you want Ramondre, I need this wide receiver. He's expensive. If you want Miles Sanders, I need this wide receiver. So that way, it kind of helps them to gauge. I'd rather have Ramondre over Miles Sanders right now, but just make sure that you're getting a more expensive receiver for Ramondre and a lesser expensive receiver for Miles Sanders. That's kind of how I would rock it. Kevin D says, start Mark Andrews or T. Higgins or Aaron Jones, 2 points per reception. Man, this is a beast of a league, honestly. I would go Mark Andrews, man. Mark Andrews has been awesome. He is the only receiver for Lamar Jackson. He gets touchdowns as well. So you got to almost start Mark Andrews every single time. Mark Andrews has scored more points than T. Higgins this year. Mark Andrews has scored more points than Aaron Jones this year. Go look it up. So go Mark Andrews, and you start him with confidence. You just be confident about it. And, you go out there with Mark Andrews, you go into battle, and you go ahead and get this victory. Kevin D, I believe in you, man. Monique writes, also, I got Josh Allen on bye. Streaming Carr, what do you think? Can I do better with Mariota or Garoppolo? Or, you know what? This is a question that I asked myself as well. I'm a Josh Allen owner. And in one of my leagues, it was either Carr or it was either Garoppolo. With Garoppolo now getting Christian McCaffrey, which I don't think he plays this week, you might just want to go Derek Carr because they're playing a terrible defense, but then you have that Josh Jacobs factor. What if Carr's not scoring enough touchdowns? Mariota is safe, because he's going to run the ball, but I think Carr puts up more points than any of these guys. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like, literally, you can go wrong or go right with any of these, but I think Carr, with a pissed off Devontae Adams, might get you 2 passing touchdowns, maybe 278 yards or so, something like that. So Carr is safe for a good 20 points this week. Lawrence, gotcha. By the way, I'm 4-2 right now. Chill, man. Hey, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, man. Do your thing. Do your thing, man. Hey, do your thing. If you want to keep both, you keep both. Hey, anytime, man. Anytime you got advice, man, just come on the show, man. This is what we do. Kevin D says, appreciate it, man. Anytime, man. Look, I love this, man. I love the interactions because when the viewers come in and ask questions, it kind of changes the show to a whole different direction. I already have things to talk about, but if you guys have questions and comments, I dive into that first because it's interaction. It's all about the interaction for me. Being a smaller YouTube channel, I can get to all the comments. Now, when I get bigger, obviously I can get through all the comments. So if you guys use me now that I'm smaller, and I can get to all the comments. So moving on to the ATL game, is this the game that Kyle Pitts does anything? Like, I'm so sick and tired of Kyle Pitts, man. It's not even funny. Like, this guy right here was overdrafted. But I told you guys, do not draft Kyle Pitts where you guys are drafting him. He was going as a tight end 2, tight end 3 in plenty drafts. And right now, he's not giving you that return of investment. Kyle Pitts is possibly like tight end 59 or something. I don't know. Kevin D writes, T. Higgins, Aaron Jones, Godwin, Jalen Waddle, 2 points per reception. Start 2. You always start Jalen Waddle. I almost made a mistake by benching Jalen Waddle last week, and I put him into my lineup the very last minute, and he got me some major points. So you always start Jalen Waddle. That's number 1. He has 30 receptions so far this year, and I think he's going to get more and more and more, especially with Tua coming back, going against that weak Pittsburgh's defense, but that could be a shootout. I think that's a potential Kenny Pickett versus Tua type show, and you're going to see great wide receiver play on display. So, yeah, go Jalen Waddle. And then your next one is tough because Godwin is due for a big game. Aaron Jones is up and down, but Aaron Jones could be the number 2 wide receiver for Green Bay versus my Commanders this week. And then you have T. Higgins. I will go T. Higgins because he's safer. We know who T. Higgins is. We don't really know who Chris Godwin is just yet. So go T. Higgins, go Jalen Waddle, and you start those guys with full confidence. A man said, bruh, I drafted Kyle as a tight end for it. Look, plenty of people did. Don't feel bad. A lot of you guys, a lot of us, let me just include myself in this. A lot of us drafted Kyle Pitts as a potential because we were thinking they have no weapons. Marcus Mariota, he loves the tight ends, but the coach does not love to dial up the tight end. So is it a coaching thing, or is it a Mariota thing, or is it just that Kyle Pitts is not as good as we think? What is it? Something is quite not right with guys like Kyle Pitts and Najee Harris, but it happens. That's why redraft is a whole different ballgame. Now in Dynasty, I just made a huge trade that landed me Kyle Pitts for the low. I think I traded my first and a second round in 24, and I was able to get Kyle Pitts and Mike Evans, and that helps my team. I'm a top 3 team in the league, and that puts me into play for this year and next year. So, yeah, Kyle Pitts, man, he's been so bad. It says you can see Kyle has gravity on the field. It says the coach is using that to their advantage, man. It's crazy, and it's not like the Elijah Moore situation where at least the Jets are winning. But the Falcons are not winning anything, and you're still not getting them the ball. So it's got to be frustrating to the owners. It's got to be frustrating to a guy like Kyle. And then Cincinnati, you want to go ahead and start T. Higgins, Chase, Mixon, Burrow. And then in some leagues, if it's a deeper league, you can start a Tyler Boyd. But Tyler Boyd is really a flex play if you have like a 4-flex league or a 3-flex league. If you're in a 2-flex league, Tyler Boyd shouldn't be in one of your flex. That means your team is bad if you have to flex a Tyler Boyd. The Dallas and the Detroit game. This could be interesting. Dallas has a very good defense. They can boast of a very good defense. But Dak Prescott returns. How is he going to look? Is he going to look rusty? Is he going to be good? Will Dak Prescott have that connection with guys like Michael Gallup? We know who CeeDee Lamb is, and we're expecting a big game or a big season from CeeDee Lamb as long as Dak remains active or healthy. Dalton Schultz, I drafted him as a top-tier tight end, but the difference was I took him like in the 7th and 8th round of either Superflex drafts, or I took him about in the 5th or 6th round in a 1-quarterback league. So can Dak Prescott hit his weapons? How do the running backs look? Does Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard look good with Dak being back? You're going against a Detroit team, so feel confident starting all of these Dallas Cowboy offensive players because the Lions give up a lot of points. Anybody can score on the Lions. They're 1-4. They play hard. But Swift is coming back. Even if Swift is back, if you are in a deep league, feel confident in starting Jamal Williams. I think that Jamal Williams is going to be able to provide you some flex play. He's going to get a lot of the goal line carries. They don't want to overexert a guy like Swift. So that's that as well. Now, we move on to the next game. You got the Giants. You got the Jags. 2 bad teams, but the Giants continue to win. So I apologize, Giants fans. I can't call the Giants a bad team. They're 5-1. The 5-1 Giants versus the Jags. The Jags have a chance to kind of, bounce back. Christian Kirk, he has disappeared. We need Christian Kirk back to the level that he was playing those first 4 games. Then you have Daniel Jones, and you have Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is the only guy that I trust on the Giants offense. Somehow, some way, they continue to win games. I think this Giants defense is for real. After this game, if they're able to shut down or limit what Jacksonville can do offensively, then I might start to respect this defense a little more. The Jags are similar to the Lions. Like, they have really, really good offenses, but they're still bad teams, and they're still trying to figure out how to win games. But don't sleep on Jacksonville. Jacksonville has played well this year. It's just they've just been unfortunate to lose some close games. You have the Titans, and you have Titans and the Colts. Sorry. That's a matchup where I like Matt Ryan a lot this week. The Titans defense is trash. They're ultra trash. They're terrible. And Matt Ryan is going to have a chance to exploit that defense. Also, Jonathan Taylor returns. Nyheim Hines returns. Deion Jackson, who was the hero for a lot of us last week, who had 28 fantasy points, will not really be used if Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor are fully healthy. But if you are in deep leagues, continue to hold Deion Jackson just in case one of these 2 running backs get hurt. So to fast forward, I love Matt Ryan this week. I'm starting guys like Pittman. I'm starting guys like Alec Pierce with full confidence because I believe that these guys can put up points. Not only that, the Colts are starting to find a groove right now. The Titans are still not a really good team at all. You know, with the Titans, you have Tannehill and Henry, but the only guy I really trust on that team is Derrick Henry. Outside of that, will the defense step up? We don't know. Will Matt Ryan throw picks? We don't know. Matt Ryan looked amazing last week, and I think he can look amazing this week. So I'm starting Matt Ryan over guys like, even guys like someone like a Derek Carr, right? I don't mind starting Matt Ryan over Derek Carr, to be honest. So you have the Commanders and you have Green Bay. If you play in a 2-quarterback league and you're searching for that other quarterback, or if you have quarterbacks on bye weeks or injured, Taylor Heinicke could be safe. I think he's going to run the ball. I have him projected for maybe 50 yards rushing, and that's just 5 points off rip. If touchdowns count as 6 points per touchdown, I think he gets 2 touchdowns. If he gets a rushing touchdown, even better, right? So I think Taylor Heinicke is safe this week, even though he's going against a tough Green Bay defense. He's going against a tough, pissed-off Green Bay team. But what's saving Washington is that the game is at Washington, so it could bode well for them. If the Commanders win this game, they're 3-4. I mean, Green Bay has not looked good at all. In terms of Green Bay's offensive players, I would start guys like Romeo Doubs. I would start guys like Robert Tonyan. And then last but not least, of course, the running backs, but you go Aaron Jones. Like right now, you bench A.J. Dillon until he starts to produce. Washington is pretty good at stopping the run, so this can be a pass-heavy game for Green Bay. Look for Dobbs and Christian Watson. He's hurt. Randall Cobb, he's hurt. So this can be a Lazard and Dobbs type game. And then Tonyan is going to be peppered with targets. I see Tonyan getting over 10 targets, and he might end up getting you 7 receptions or 8 receptions. He might get you stats similar to last week where he caught 9 receptions for over 90 yards, 18 PPR points. And if you're playing in tight end premium leagues 1.5, that was a clean little 24 points that Robert Tonyan was able to get. Last week, I didn't start Robert Tonyan or a guy like Gesicki, and I was so pissed off because it was a tight end premium league, and both guys had over 24 points each, so I was kind of mad about that. So you just never know sometimes with tight ends. It just is what it is. Denver versus the Jets. The Jets are going to win this game. The Jets are going to go up 5-2. Elijah Moore can stay at home and be mad and be pissed off about this team winning. It doesn't really matter. I'm starting the Jets defense everywhere. And there's even talks that Russell Wilson might not play. He's a game-time decision, so that means Brett Rypien is going to be the guy playing quarterback. Fire up that Jets defense. Fire up that Jets defense into your lineup, and you guys are going to thank me later. I think they're going to do some great things for you this week. Also, on the flip side, you could potentially start the Broncos defense versus the Jets, especially if the Broncos are able to score some points and generate some consistency. So it could go both ways on both DSTs. Start Breece Hall with confidence. The guy is hot right now. He's tearing it up. Also, in terms of the other skill position guys, I don't trust Garrett Wilson this week. I don't trust Zach Wilson. Let's just call it what it is. Zach Wilson is the problem. When Joe Flacco was playing, Jets wide receivers were getting love. Hey, Steven, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Steven writes, Gallup or Myers, 0.5 PPR. Give me Gallup. Give me Gallup. I think that Gallup does great things this week. I think that Dak Prescott comes back fired up. And Gallup is the number 2 wide receiver for that team. Jacoby Myers, we don't know who's playing. Is it going to be Bailey Zappi? Is it going to be Mac Jones? Are they going to run the ball? Are they going to be playing with the lead? So many questions to be answered. And they're playing a lowly Chicago Bears defense. So it might be one of them games where they're running the ball, they're killing time. Speaking of the Pats and the Bears, we don't know what's going on with the quarterback position. And it's a Monday night game. So if you have Mac Jones and you don't know whether to start him or not, you want to go ahead and have Bailey Zappi as well. If you're playing Dynasty, if you're playing Superflex leagues, have Bailey Zappi there just in case you have a guy like Russell or whatever. It's really a tough situation being a Monday night game. You really don't know. So you can't really just start one guy and, whatever. So just keep an eye out on that. Bailey Zappi has looked better than Mac Jones. The people, the fans, the world wants Bailey Zappi to be the quarterback for the Patriots moving forward. I say go back to the guy that you drafted in the first round. See what you have in him, and then if he continues to have bad play and he's not winning games, then you can make that change. But once you make that change, you can't turn away from it. This is quarterbacks. You can't say, "Oh, week 5, I'm going to go Zappy. Then week 7, I'm going to go Mac Jones." So you have to be consistent with your quarterback, and whoever you pick, the team has to rally around. In terms of the Bears players, I don't trust any of them. Fire up that New England Patriots DST in your lineups. I think they're going to be amazing. For the Bears, if I had to pick one guy, I might pick David Montgomery just because you guys are twisting my arm, asking me who I should, So that's the only way that I would have somebody from the Bears starting on my team. Brock says, "Yo, Manny, one more. Pick a side, full PPR. Jalen Waddle and DJ Moore or A.J. Brown." Give me Jalen Waddle and DJ Moore. I love Waddle. Give me Waddle over Moore. Give me Waddle over A.J. Brown. Jalen Waddle is that dude. Yeah. Steven says one more. Need 3. Mixon, Stevenson, Chubb, Pierce. Like and subscribe. Good stuff. Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate the love. That's the kind of stuff I be talking about, man. Appreciate y'all. So this is a great question. Wipe out Mixon. You definitely have to start Chubb. So Chubb is number 1. Dameon Pierce has been amazing. So Dameon Pierce is number 2. So it all boils down to my guy Stevenson or Mixon. Give me Stevenson. Even if Damien Harris plays, Stevenson is just so good right now. 2 20-point games back-to-back weeks. Not only that, I'm even contemplating benching Swift to start a guy like Stevenson because he's been so hot and Swift is coming off of an injury. So, that's just how much I believe in Stevenson. And the only thing that is in Stevenson's way right now is that pesky Damien Harris. The same Damien Harris that I'm hoping gets traded today, not today or this week or before like the deadline. Yeah, he needs to go. He needs to go. I keep on refreshing just in case Adam Schefter drops a bomb because I have a feeling that another trade goes down tonight, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see who gets traded next. Everybody's excited about this CMC trade. They're calling this offense the most versatile offense and this and that. It all boils down to, can Jimmy Garoppolo lead this team? I really think that Jimmy Garoppolo can, but we're going to see. But yeah, great questions, guys. Keep them coming. I am on this stream for the next 15 minutes, and I'm going to cut it off. So keep the questions coming. It's not bothering me. I actually enjoy answering the questions more than I enjoy talking about what I want to talk about, to be honest. So you have Houston, you have Vegas. Start everybody on Vegas. Vegas is 1-4 right now. They're pissed off. I see a big Derek Carr to Devontae Adams connection. I'm talking potential 200 yards receiving, 10 to 15 catches out of Devontae Adams, and possibly 2 scores. Call me out on this. If Devontae Adams does not get 15 targets, call me out. I think this is a statement game for Devontae Adams. He's pissed off that he's not getting the ball enough. He's pissed off at the way that things has happened. I mean, you look at Green Bay, they're struggling, but they're not struggling like Vegas, 1-4, and you're playing the Houston Texans. If you can't beat the Houston Texans, what is your purpose in life, Vegas? You got to do something. You've invested so much money into this team that your record cannot look like this. But we all knew when Russell Wilson came to this division and Devontae Adams came to this division to join Patrick Mahomes, who's been here and who's been doing this, we all knew this was going to be a tough division. And then you also add the Chargers to this division. So we all knew that all 4 teams were not going to make the playoffs. We all knew somebody had to be bad. That's just how it is. It's like you put a whole bunch of guys in the ring and say fight. And that's what's going on. They're fighting. You don't know who is going to be the guy, or be the team. So, yeah, I think it's a statement game for the Raiders. Also, shout out to Josh Jacobs, man. Josh Jacobs has been amazing this year. Josh Jacobs continues to just be on fire. Like, look, I am so glad that I was a Josh Jacobs fan of his since his rookie year. I've continued to trade for Josh Jacobs. But my problem was I didn't draft him enough in redraft leagues, and I beat myself up daily for that because he is tearing it up, and I'm hoping he has a big game. So Dameon Pierce, right? The Houston Texans continue to lose, but they continue to give Dameon Pierce more touches. The coach has said Lovie Smith has said, I want to give Damian Pierce 20 or more rushing attempts. We're just talking about rushing attempts. We're not talking about receiving. We're not talking about extra touches, just rushing attempts. So Damian Pierce is the guy. We had a topic earlier on in the show. You guys can go back and rewind and watch that debate. I mean, it's just what the fantasy world or what the dynasty world is saying about these running backs that are drafted or go undrafted. So pretty much fourth round and down. That's what you consider low draft capital. These guys are being replaced by guys like CMC and Breece Hall, like some of these special backs. It just is what it is. If you have a special talent, like even a guy like Travis Etienne, he was drafted in the first round. So that means bye-bye James Robinson. James Robinson had a good, 3 games, and then now he's fizzled out. All the touches, all of those things are all going to a guy like Travis Etienne. Something else to watch out for is Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary might have been a third-round pick. I'm going to go ahead and look that up. But a guy like Cook could supplant him. But then again, next year, both guys might get replaced because if the Bills need a special running back and Bijan Robinson is available or Jahmyr Gibbs is available, that's going to be the guy that they're going to end up grabbing, honestly. I'm going to look up that Devin Singletary draft capital just to see where he was drafted. He was drafted. It's not showing me where he was drafted. Devin Singletary draft. I'm a nerd when it comes to like drafts and where people were drafted and things of that nature. So he was drafted number 74 overall. That sounds like a third round pick. So third round, 74 pick overall. And then, James Cook, he was drafted. Let me see where James Cook was drafted. I want to say third round as well. James Cook draft. I look at stuff like this. I enjoy it. So he was selected 63rd overall. I think that's to begin the third round, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's to begin the third round. So hold on, let me double check. That's the second round pick. Second round pick. So James Cook has draft capital over a guy like Devin Singletary. I didn't know. I thought that James Cook was a third round pick. So James Cook could be a guy that takes over for Devin Singletary rather soon than later, even though Devin Singletary had that, So draft capital matters pretty much. I went on a little tantrum there, or a little ramble there, but draft capital matters where these guys are getting drafted. Because if you invest draft capital, that means you really believe in that player. Seattle versus the Chargers. Geno Smith has been hot, but he fizzled out last week. He should bounce back. Even though the Chargers have a really good defense, I think that Geno Smith continues to put up numbers. Start guys like Lockett and guys like DK Metcalf with confidence. Kenneth Walker, can he do it again? Kenneth Walker was amazing. I love what Kenneth Walker brings to the table. I think Kenneth Walker does do it again. So interesting game. In terms of the Chargers, man, Mike Williams is up and down. Like Mike Williams is a guy that I can't trust. The guy is so up and down as a wide receiver that it's annoying. It's annoying. And it kind of pisses you off because you know the potential of who Mike Williams is, but that good game, bad game. That good game, bad game is some of the worst things ever out of Mike Williams. But in this game, you got to start him. Like I said, until Keenan Allen comes back, you literally have to start Mike Williams. Okay? So Mike Williams, his last game, he had 2 receptions for 17 yards. But the game before that, he had 10 receptions, 134 yards. The game before that, 7 receptions for 120 yards. So he's had 3 100 receiving yard games. Big games, too. Games where he has over 113 yards receiving. 3 different games. But then he has games where he's giving you 10 yards, 15 yards, 17 yards, respectfully. And those are things that you cannot do. You can't have your wide receiver 1 and your wide receiver 2 giving you 10 yards. So which Mike Williams are we going to get this week versus the Seattle Seahawks? Seahawks got some young corners that are playing out of control right now. So we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. But Austin Eckler has been amazing. Continue to start him with confidence. Justin Herbert, I think he has a great game this game. Kansas City and the Chiefs. I mean, Kansas City and Chiefs are the same people. So Kansas City and the 49ers. Potential to be a great game. Does Christian McCaffrey play? We don't know. It's speculations that he might play, he might not play. Now, whether he plays or not, Kansas City, you figure to score points and to, have a lead. And Kansas City might not score as many touchdowns as we think, but they're going to get field goals. So either way, you can project that they have a chance of scoring 28 points or more, even against this great San Francisco defense. San Francisco's going to be pumped up. They are trying to go for the Super Bowl, and I don't blame them. Right now, they're tied first in their division. George Kittle has to step up. I still don't trust him yet. Brandon Ayuk, he's been solid, but no consistency. Debo, but then now with I'm hoping that Christian McCaffrey does not play, so that way I can get one more week out of Jeff Wilson. So Jeff Wilson is the handcuff to Christian McCaffrey right now until Elijah Mitchell is actually healthy and ready to go. So that's that. In terms of Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. That's it. Everybody else, you're just it's a dart throw. It's like you're playing Russian roulette, just to be honest. Now, Pittsburgh and Miami, like I told you guys, I'm excited for that game. I think Tua has a great game. I think, Waddle goes off, and I'm here for it all. And I'm hoping that this game is a shootout. Like now with Tua coming back, the team is now fully healthy and ready to go. Miami was a really good team, same team that knocked out Buffalo. So don't sleep on Miami. They're going to come out and play well, and they're going to do everything in their power in order to win this game. Miami's backfield, stay away from it. That's up to you. The receivers is where it's at. Mike Gesicki is sneaky. He gets a touchdown here and there, and maybe Mike Gesicki gets traded. So keep an eye out on Mike Gesicki. I've been picking him up in several leagues just in case he goes to a team like, let's say, Kansas City. Kansas City might say, hey, you know what? We want two tight ends. We want two tight end sets. Or Gesicki could go to a team like, let's say, the Giants. I don't like him on the Giants, but he could go there, or go to Green Bay and they run two tight end sets. So Gesicki is a name to keep an eye on. Scoop him, put him on your roster, and who knows, he might yield fruit for you. If you guys are tuning in, please like, please subscribe, and please share. If you guys have questions, drop them in the comment section. I have about a good 6 more minutes left on the stream, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Let me see. I think I have one more game. That's I already talked about it. It was a New England versus the Chicago Bears. But let's talk about the game last night. The game last night was amazing. One thing that we can say is that DeAndre Hopkins is back. He had 18 points. He had all the targets. He showed that, hey, I am still DeAndre Hopkins. This Arizona team is looking scary. But anytime that DeAndre Hopkins has played, Kyler Murray has looked good or confident. Kyler Murray did not have a great game per se, but they did run back 2 scores defensively. So, with that being said, can this Arizona DST continue to produce? And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. This DST is pretty hot right now. You might want to go ahead and scoop them and stash them because I think that they're going to be, really, really good this year. Let me see. All right, Arizona. So, week 1, they had 1 point. Then week 2, they had 11. Then they had 5, 13, 3. And then the last 2 weeks, which is week 6 versus Seattle, they had 15. And then yesterday, they had 17 fantasy points. So, I know a lot of y'all don't look at defenses, but this might be a defense that you want to look at moving forward. Next week, it's a bad matchup. You're playing against the Vikings, and the Vikings might come into that matchup being, 6-1, having a 6-1 record. So you want to keep an eye out on that. Let me see. Yeah. So that's that. Let me look at my notes, make sure that I've gotten through everything. There's several players that I like this week. With Kenyon Drake being available, right? Did you start Kenyon Drake? So I have a decision to make. I'm in a league where I have Christian McCaffrey as my starting running back, but he might not play after this trade. So I might slide in Kenyon Drake instead of Christian McCaffrey just in case he doesn't play. Or I might move Kenneth Walker into that spot or Stevenson and then move one of my wide receivers into the other spot. So it's just some juggling to do. They're playing against the Cleveland Browns, and we don't know what to expect. I have guys like DJ Moore, Gesicki. Like I told you guys, I'm big on Gesicki right now because he could end up being on a really good team. Tons of defenses out there, tons of different players out there. So let's look at what's trending on Sleeper before I get out of here. So players that are trending right now are obviously Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. We already covered those. Odell Beckham Jr. being, rumored to Kansas City. We've talked about that. Everybody's going for that Las Vegas defense versus Houston. That's a pretty good pickup. Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, one of these two guys outside of Kenyon Drake could end up being a really good running back for the Ravens these next 4 to 6 weeks with J.K. Dobbins being out. We know that any running back, even last year with Devontae Freeman, he played well in this backfield. So these are some of the guys that I'm looking at, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo is a nice play this week. We already talked about that. The Jets defense versus Denver, we've talked about that. Miami with Tua, that elevates everything. Kenny Pickett is expected to play, so they're going to go after this rookie. So also, Sony Michel, you want to go ahead and get him on your roster. If he's available, get him on your roster just in case Christian McCaffrey, just in case Austin Eckler gets hurt, then at least you'll have the insurance. So what I want to encourage you guys to do is go look at your running backs. Go look at your bench. If you have space on your bench, go ahead and handcuff your running backs. Your running backs have the potential to get hurt and be out for the season every time they step on the field. So why is it that you guys don't have the handcuffs, or why don't you guys have depth to replenish your players that do get hurt? That's kind of how people end up going 0-5 or 0-6 or start losing because you don't handcuff your players. So I always try to make my bench useful. There's so many bench spots where I grabbed and stashed Eno Benjamin because I just trust James Conner. And Eno Benjamin has paid dividends for me recently. Wan'Dale Robinson. Everybody's on the Wan'Dale Robinson hype right now. There's a potential that Wan'Dale Robinson has a breakout game, and then it'll be hard to find a Wan'Dale Robinson. So if you can get a Wan'Dale Robinson, you go ahead and you get him right now before they actually play the game on Sunday. This is the time to make trades. You make your trade today. Most times these trades, they clear before Sunday. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Robert Tonyan, I already talked about him. He had a great game last week, being targeted a ton, over 10 times, caught 10 receptions for 90 yards, 19 points. So you want to go ahead and grab guys like this. Keep your eye out on players that are trending up. You never know when you pick up a waiver wire gem and they end up becoming, something even greater. Matt Ryan, we talked about him. He's pretty good. Foster Monroe, have him on your roster, especially in tight end needy leagues where if Darren Waller's out, at least you have a starting caliber tight end on your roster. Juwan Johnson, he's slowly but surely becoming the tight end on the Saints. Right now, he had, 5 receptions last night, 32 yards, and he had 2 scores. Ended up with 20 points. I'm not saying it's not every day that, a tight end gets 2 touchdowns, but Travis Kelce had 4, didn't he? So just want to kind of highlight some players that are trending and why they're trending. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I appreciate everybody who was able to come in during the live feed and drop in some comments. I appreciate all the new subscribers today. If you guys are ever interested in becoming a channel member, you guys can join the channel membership right there. And there's also different levels of membership. There's a membership where you have access to me 24/7, and I put you into like a group chat. We talk fantasy 24/7, and you can get your questions asked, and I can answer those for you, especially when I'm not able to get on the live. So take advantage of that. Use me. Like I said, right now, I'm a smaller YouTube channel. When I grow, I can't get to everybody. But I appreciate the love. I'll be doing this again. Today's Friday. The next time I stream might be either Saturday or Monday evening. So love you guys. I will catch you guys on that next stream. I'm out. Peace.